All right, this Bitcoin dump is continuing. And to be honest, this is the first time in a long time where I'm seeing a Bitcoin dump and I'm actually seeing the fear that a real correction needs to bring to the market. So we've dumped from about 72,000. Let's say from this point over here, from 71,350, we've dumped about 9% in a day. And it's the first time that I'm actually seeing the fear and panic that a correction needs to bring. Now, the big question is this an opportunity to buy the dip, or is this going to be the first real correction that we've seen in Bitcoin since about January? Should you be rushing to buy, or is this going to get a whole lot worse? I'm going to show you the data. I'm going to show you why the market's dumping, and it's not why you think. And to be honest, it's not looking so good. So let's get the show on the road and decide whether we should be buying this dip or whether we should be waiting a little longer. It's funny because usually you get these guys who are saying, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. But today when you look on crypto Twitter, it's not like that anymore. And I wonder if it's because Bitcoin's actually gone down 8% in the last couple of hours, or whether it's because people are actually reading the data and reading the charts and coming to similar conclusions to the conclusions that I came to. And I can tell you that right now, I'm not buying this dip. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about this dip. We're going to talk about whether it's time for you guys to be buying the dip. We're going to talk about whether this is the first real correction. And then I've got a whole lot of altcoin news for you guys. It's going to be a massive show. It's going to be a massive show. Before we start the show, listen, you need to be subscribed. And I'll tell you why you need to be subscribed. Because remember those things called the banter bags? We keep talking about the banter bags. So look how big the banter bags are actually starting to look at the moment. We've got Gaiman, Flash Protocol, Saga, Peckland, Beeple, Tap Protocol, Orange DX. Today we added another one. So you'll see that we've got added another one today called 𝗦𝗚𝗘𝗦. 𝗦𝗚𝗘𝗦 is a layer 2 Bitcoin perpetuals DEX, which is actually launching on the 3rd of April. It's launching on Bybit and on Gate. It is layer 2 agnostic on Bitcoin. And it is, for me, the first decentralized perpetuals DEX on a layer 2. So they've given us $1,000. If you want to go and check them out to see what's in the banter bags, go and check out their website. It's 𝗦𝗚𝗘𝗏. Very, very, very good protocol. Full disclosure, we are actually investors in 𝗦𝗚𝗘𝗏. And remember, if you're subscribed to channel and you are subscribed to Banter Plus and you have an exchange account with any Crypto Banter link, then you guys are in line to win these banter bags. And I can tell you, if we carry on at this rate, we're going to have, this must be worth at least $100,000 already, at least. And this is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So just do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. If you're already subscribed, smash the like button, obliterate the like button. I know the other day we got to 3,000 likes on a stream. Let's see what we can do today, even though it's not the best day in the world, I would say. If you look at the bubbles, I don't know, looks shocking to me, looks terrible to me. But I guess we probably should have expected some kind of correction. I'm going to show you why we probably should have expected some kind of correction. It's not a real surprise. It's not a real surprise. I think the part that is a real surprise to me is the fact that this time, number one, we went down very quickly. We went down very, very, very quickly. The second thing is the sentiment out there. It's not that jovial, happy, incredible sentiment. And I'm waiting for the fear and greed chart to refresh itself tonight. Because remember, the fear and greed chart actually only comes out much later in the evening. This was last updated, I think 14 hours ago. 14 hours ago, we were still in euphoria, right? 14 hours ago, we were still in euphoria. Now, I guess we'll probably go from 79. I reckon we'll go somewhere into the 60s or somewhere like that, because this is the first time that I'm starting to smell the real fear that a correction needs to bring into the market. Remember, I keep saying to you guys that for me, a correction is not about market movement. That's like one part of it. For me, a correction is about a fundamental change in sentiment. We want the fear and greed index to drop, and we're going to speak a lot about the fear and greed index today. But we want that fear and greed index to drop before we decide that this is actually a proper correction. I said to you last time that I wasn't convinced about the last correction. I said to you, I wanted it to go under 60,000 because I wanted to shake out the froth in the market to change behaviors. And we didn't manage to do that, and we just carried on going up. And a lot of you said, well, your thesis is invalidated. I said, you're right. My thesis is probably invalidated. I want to break the all-time high. We didn't end up breaking the all-time high, but the sentiment in the market was very good. So maybe this is that first real correction that we've had. I guess since January, and we'll actually analyze the numbers in a second. But if you look at the market structure, this is probably what is starting to scare people here. So the first thing is we're starting to see signs of exhaustion. We can't break the all-time high. What does a sign of exhaustion look like on the chart? I'll show you. A sign of exhaustion in a rally on a chart actually looks like what they call a lower high. So this is a higher high, that's another higher high, and that's another higher high. You see the chart keeps going higher and higher and higher. Now we had a higher high, but here we've now had a lower high. So now we've got a high and we've got a lower high. So now two things can happen in this chart structure. The first one, which is what actually people are starting to get really scared of, is that we will actually put in the first lower low in the cycle. So if we break below the 60,687 level, which you can see over here, that will be the first lower low that we've put in since this period over here. You see, so this is the period where we, in January, where we put in that first lower low, and then we went quite a fair bit down. In fact, if you look at that correction, top to bottom in January, that was about a 21% correction. So now we are at this point where we are now waiting for the market to tell us what the next move is. Two options. One is we get a lower low, so we go below this line, in which case this becomes a real correction. Two is we start bouncing here, and then we get a bull flag, and then we break up and we go to Valhalla. That would probably look something like this. So we start bouncing here, we get that bull flag, and then bang, we go into Valhalla. So right now, the level that you really want to watch, forget about all the noise on Twitter, forget about everything else. There's only one level that you really want to watch right now, and that's that 60,800 level. If we break below the 60,800 level, hold on tight. This is one of those corrections. If we don't break below that level, this could be a bull flag, and we could go from here directly to Valhalla. No stops along the way. So as I said, the two schools of thought. One of them says we're just losing that upwards momentum. We don't have that momentum anymore. The rally has lost its momentum, and we're not going to go any higher. We're actually going to start coming down, or we consolidate, which is what we'd probably love to see here. We'd love to see a little bull flag, stay above this trend line over here, a little bull flag, and then bang, we go straight to Valhalla. Though the data says that this might not be the most likely scenario, and I'm going to show you the data in a couple of seconds. If we are playing out this scenario over here, then what we're getting now is actually absolutely perfect. Now, why do I say it's absolutely perfect? Because there was a CME gap. So there was a CME gap. The CME gap was between 64,100 and 66,370. We're at 64,820 now. That's where we are, 64,600. We pretty much in a couple of $100, we close the CME gap. Remember, CME gaps generally get closed. 90% of all CME gaps actually gets closed. So we could just close the CME gap, form this bull flag, and continue to go up, or we go down and we put in our first, what I would say is a real correction in this bear market in this bull market in a long time. And to be honest, if it happens, I wouldn't be too upset, because we actually want corrections in the bull market. We do want those things in the bull market. In the meantime, where are we? Let's just quickly look at where we are. So we've had $501 million of liquidations, which is good. The funding has gone back to green because obviously the degens are getting flushed out. So the funding gone back to its green colors, as everyone says, or as Ted says, but everyone's probably thinking the same thing. You know, you want to get rid of funding, of leverage. You want to leverage flush out before you can continue into the next leg of a healthy bull market. I don't know if this was just a leverage flush out, to be honest, because there wasn't that much froth before. So you kind of look at this and you go, this is not a very frothy market. This is a very frothy market. This is not a very frothy market. For the last couple of days, there has been froth, but it hasn't been, I wouldn't say it's been excessive froth. We did get a liquidation, but I think we need to have some perspective here. We are at the same levels in Bitcoin now that we first got to on the 5th of March. So we've only gone about 1 month back in terms of prices. We've literally gone back 1 month. And that's not a real correction. That's not where we go in terms of a real correction. I think what we're going to try and understand is, why is this happening? Why did the market actually go down? And the truth is, when you look at why the market went down, a lot of people will try and convince you that the market went down because of macroeconomic reasons. A lot of people will say, yesterday, the macroeconomic indicator came out, which is the manufacturing index, the manufacturing data was released, and it showed that the economy in the US was much more heated. And so what the market started to worry about was that the economy in the United States is so heated that Powell is not going to reduce interest rates as quickly as he said he's going to reduce interest rates. And we saw a few things happen as soon as that data yesterday, the manufacturing data was released yesterday. First of all, there's now only a 56% chance that that Powell will reduce rates in the June meeting. Now remember, he said he's going to reduce rates at least 3 times this year, or 3 or 4 times this year. And now he's got 6 meetings left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 meetings left. So he needs to start reducing. Now, we've always said he's not going to reduce rates in May, which means that June he should start reducing. And now people are starting to worry that he's not going to reduce rates in the next meeting. And so what that's done is it sent the DXY up. So the dollar index, the DXY is getting very strong. And if you look at the DXY, like I showed you on the Bitcoin chart, if you look at the DXY actually put in a higher high. So that's a high, and that's like a higher high. And so what you're seeing here is you're seeing that the DXY is on an uptrend, and rates are also now on an uptrend. So you can see again, you got a higher high when it comes to rates. So what the market is saying is, shit, hold on. We got to hold on tight now. And we got to make sure that we got to hold on tight and brace ourselves for the fact that rates may actually be higher for longer, which is not what we had as part of the plan. What we thought was part of the plan was that rates were going to go down this year. And so that's why the market is actually getting worried. One piece of data. And a lot of people are blaming this Bitcoin dip on the fact that there was this US manufacturing data. Now I'm going to call bullshit. And I'll show you why I'm going to call bullshit, because that's not what happened. And I can prove to you that that's not what happened. I look at the charts. I'm a charts man. I'm like 𝗟𝗩𝗘𝗦, but the bullish version, okay? I look at the charts. I'm like 𝗟𝗩𝗘𝗦. I'm just bullish 𝗟𝗩𝗘𝗦. He's bearish 𝗟𝗩𝗘𝗦. By the way, a lot of people are saying Gareth is your teacher. Gareth was short from 60, so he still has quite a long way to go before his short gets in the money. I hope he doesn't lose money because he's a friend of mine, but still. So why am I calling bullshit on this? I'll show you why I'm calling bullshit on this. Let's go to the 1 hour chart in the DXY. And let's see what time, on my time, the DXY exploded. That was 2 o'clock in the afternoon on our time. You see, 2 o'clock in the afternoon when the data came out, actually 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but this is UTC time. You can see that is when the DXY exploded and the manufacturing data came out. Now I go to the Bitcoin chart and I look at the 1 hour chart and I say, okay, when did the red candle happen? 12 hours later. So unless the whole world went to sleep and then 12 hours later said, oh shit, the manufacturing data came out 12 hours later, don't tell me that the market went down because of this manufacturing data. It may have been a contributor, but that's not why the market went down. So for those people who are telling you that the manufacturing data that came out is what caused this market correction, bullshit. All right, so if it's not that, what is it? Is it maybe the fact that there are grayscale outflows again? I mean, that was just another normal day, like grayscale outflow 303 million. Grayscale is like a slow puncture in a tire. You know what I mean? It's like there's a nail in your tire and the air just keeps coming out and out and out and out and out. Eventually the air is just going to run out of the tire and we can actually move on. So the correction also wasn't caused by the grayscale outflows. Also, listen, let's just call a spade a spade. Yesterday was Easter Monday. A lot of people didn't actually go to work yesterday. The markets were open. So yesterday wasn't a real trading day on the markets. Most markets that I know were actually closed. It's only assholes like us that came to work on yesterday. So it's me, Josh, 𝗕𝗘𝗙𝗢𝗢. We came here to work because we assholes, but not everybody's an asshole. Not everybody wants to go to work on a public holiday, right? So it wasn't that. It wasn't the ETF flows that actually caused this dump. So I'll tell you what it was that actually caused this dump, because I know exactly what caused this dump. And I'm going to show you exactly what it is. And it wasn't the manufacturing data, and it wasn't the grayscale outflows. So I'm going to show you what it is. What caused this dump? Josh, do you know what caused this dump? You're about to find out now. Do you know what caused this dump? Okay, so I'm going to show you in a second why we got this dump. I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise to you. The reason why we got this dump was actually all down to one thing. The reason why we got this dump was the fact that, I'll show you. That's the reason why we got the dump. The reason why we got the dump, as Gustavo, our analyst, said, he said, when the cat coins run, that is usually a peak top of the cycle. You can see in the last cycle, in October 21, when 𝗤𝗤𝗢𝗢, I think 𝗤𝗤𝗢𝗢 is Elon Musk's cat, ran, that is when that is the top of a cycle. When 𝗤𝗤𝗢𝗢 runs, when cats run, that is usually the top of the cycle. But I mean, in all seriousness, that is why it all happened. It all comes down to froth and the level of froth that we currently have in this market. And you can't deny that where we are in the market right now is we are at extreme levels of froth, and we have been at extreme levels of froth for a long time. I mean, this is the 1 month chart. That is the 3 month chart of fear and greed. This is the 1 year chart of fear and greed. And you can see that we've been hovering around extreme froth for a long period of time. And I know, and you know, because, I mean, let's just admit it to ourselves. We've been doing irresponsible things. We've been doing silly things. We've been investing in, I invested in giraffe. Sorry, I didn't invest. Can't say invest. I traded 𝗕𝗤𝗙𝗢𝗢. I got wiped on the weekend. Why did I trade 𝗕𝗤𝗙𝗢𝗢? Because you can't lose. Because this market just goes up. Because everything that you throw a dart on actually goes up. Doesn't matter what it is. As long as it's got the word cat in it, it goes up. As long as it's a meme coin, it goes up. That is frothy behavior. We're at a point in this market where the behavior is just too frothy. In the previous correction, what I said to you guys, I said, for me, a correction is not about the movement in price. For me, a correction is about the change in sentiment. And I said to you last time that I'm not convinced that we've had any kind of correction. Why? Because until the fear and greed actually comes down and people are actually scared, I don't believe that we've actually had a correction. I don't believe that we're going to change our behavior. Until we stop throwing money. I mean, okay, can we just have a serious conversation about this? Okay. So, 𝗏𝗛𝗀, who's a great guy, by the way, posts a picture of this cat. This is his cat. Okay, I know, Josh, I know you're laughing. That's the cat.
Hobbs, say what's up.
So, but I'm just worried, why does 𝗏𝗛𝗀 have that in his house, like the pink car? Weird. Because I know he doesn't have kids. I mean, weird that he has, or maybe he does have kids, I don't know. And he has a baby shark as well. Anyway, long story short, 𝗏𝗛𝗀 tweets this picture of his cat. 10 minutes later, this is what the market looks like. This is the state of the market. Look how many cats were created from that one cat. You know, look, we just can't have a market that looks like this. I saw this tweet, which made me realize just how crazy things are. What does your crypto portfolio look like? Well, you know, diversification is currently key. 10% Sol, 5% ETH, 30% 𝗏𝗛𝗀's cat, 20% 𝗕𝗏𝗕𝗢𝗔𝗡𝗍𝒐's cat, 15% Sailor's alligator, 10% Kobe's cat, and 10% GCR's pangolin. Okay, guys, this is, I know you're probably laughing, but I also need us to see the serious side of this. Like, you cannot have a market where people are just investing. And I'm guilty of it. I traded 𝗕𝗓𝗙𝗢𝗢 on the weekend. I got wrecked, and I deserve to get wrecked. And the reason why I deserve to get wrecked is I got caught up in the hype of cats, and I started throwing money into, you have money. That's frothy behavior. That is frothy behavior. The top VCs in the world saying, VCs who are investing into meme coins, what are you telling your LPs? And bonus points if you're not telling them that you're investing in meme coins. So I read this. It says, I think, this is from Zach Rines. He said, I think most people would agree that this bull market has been weird. BTC performance has been supercharged by the ETF launch, injecting liquidity into space. But the liquidity hasn't gone into ETH and other altcoins. It's gone directly into meme coins. We skipped the whole cycle. And that's not a healthy market. What I'm realizing more and more is that people aren't investing anymore. People are just here to play the cat casino or to play the meme casino. And people have forgotten what investing is about. People used to come to crypto to invest, to make money on investments. And now it's 90% cat coins and 10% investments. And that's frothy behavior. And frothy behavior needs to be flushed out the market. Now, do I think that all the cat coins need to be flushed out the market? Absolutely not. I think that cat coins are the healthiest thing ever for the market, but not when it's only cat coins. I think you got to have a healthy mix between cat coins and actual investments. Again, I say I'm the biggest fan of this meme market move ever. In fact, I mean, we said yesterday, even though a lot of you thought that it was an April's Fool's, we did tell you yesterday it wasn't April's Fool's. By the way, speaking of April's Fool's, can we just pause for 1 minute? I want to just say that the caliber and quality of April's Fool's jokes on people's timelines yesterday was probably the worst that I've ever seen in the last 10 years. In the last 10 years, I haven't seen such poor April's Fool's jokes. Michael Saylor buys ETH. I mean, is that the best you guys could come up with? I did see this. It says the probability of getting fooled was this much on April's Fool's and that much on election day. I think I agree with it. I think I agree with this. A lot of people thought we were fooling you when we said that we're launching a meme coin called GUMMY, and we're not fooling you guys. We are launching GUMMY. GUMMY is a real meme. Again, I just want to reiterate why we're launching GUMMY. Number one, we think that launching a coin and learning how to create a coin and learning how to burn the LP token is a skill that everybody needs to have in the new world. Because if you don't have it, you're actually going to fall behind. And we're going to teach you guys how to do it. And we're also going to give GUMMY to the community. Everyone in the office is very, very, very upset with me. Why can't we have tokens? Why can't we buy early? No one at Banter is going to get a single token. No one at Banter is going to know the contract code before it launches because it's a community coin and we don't want it to be a Banter coin. We're just launching it to teach you guys how to launch a campaign, and we are giving the tokens to you, the community. So who gets free tokens? Free tokens are only happening to the Banter community. How do you get the free tokens? We have spoken about this before, but people thought it was an April's Fool's joke. So let me just quickly go through it again. So people don't, because now you know it's not an April's Fool's joke, right? Like it's now real. So how does it work? And by the way, it's not Banter that's launching this. It's a bunch of people that we are working with. It's not Banter. Banter is not launching any coins. It's a bunch of people that we're working with, and we're going to show you how this happens. So how do you do it? Number one, you go to the Banter Bubbles app. You download the Banter Bubbles app, and at the top of the Banter Bubbles app, there is a counter, a points counter. Can you see the points counter, the yellow counter over there? You use that. The more points you have, the more airdrop you get. Then what you can do is you can sign up to 𝗏𝗏. They have confirmed it's a SEX, a centralized exchange, very good centralized exchange. They are our partners for this. They will be launching GUMMY, and anyone that has signed up and deposited money and put a trade through on the exchange between now and 4/20 when GUMMY is born, you will get free GUMMY airdrops. And you can sign up with the link over here. Bybit, I'm 99.9% sure that Bybit are coming on board. Sign up to Bybit, deposit money. By the way, if you've got a 𝗏𝗏 account or a Bybit account with Crypto Banter, you're in. You don't have to open another one. Banter Bubbles, join Sheldon Sniper School. Guys, you've got 7 days to join and sign up to Sheldon Sniper School. That's another way that you can get the airdrop. So a lot of people thought that it's a April's Fool's. It's not. GUMMY is a real thing, and it is actually launching. So the first reason why we had a dip was the froth in the market, and specifically the cats. And again, I say I love the cats. I love the froth. I love everything that's going on in the market because I think it's really good for protocols like Solana, etc., etc. But that is one of the reasons that launched. That we had a correction. The second reason we had a correction is very simple, because Bitcoin has corrections, has lots of corrections all the time. And specifically, I read this post by Lady of Crypto. And she's actually right, because when I read the post, I actually went and did the analysis. And she's actually 100% right. She said, the halving is just over 2 weeks away, and many of you will actually be disappointed by what actually comes next. But I think our altcoin bags are actually going to pump hard, and she might actually be right. So let's look at what her thesis is, and let's actually see if her thesis is actually right. Why don't you tell me my forehead's shining and it looks like a 5 head? You're supposed to tell me when my forehead shines and looks like a 5 head. So look, we are right now 17 days away from the halving. We are 17 days away from the halving. As Lady of Crypto says, she says, in the months before the last two halvings, Bitcoin rallied only to dip a week or two before the halving. And the type of dips are 29 and 20%. So quite big dips. So here's the 2016 halving. about 21 days before the halving, Bitcoin dipped 29%. Then in 2020, 4 days before the halving, 20% dip. Now here we are, 17 days before the halving, and we're now getting a dip. Not sure why anyone's surprised. History has basically told us that this is what's going to happen, but that's not, okay, cool. So good. So we're getting a dip. The dip is, Cheryl, what you laughing at? You're laughing at my 5 head. Are you like, what's wrong? So we had a dip. We have a dip just before the halving. Now, let me tell you the part that I don't like about this is that I read the analysis even further, and now look what happens actually after halving. So look what happens. You have the halving, you have a dip, and then it's like this long period of nothingness, right? That's why we always say sell in May and go away, because sell in May and then we usually get this like correction in August because everyone sells in May. No one's interested in the market. And by the way, I do think that sell in May will actually be quite brutal this year because we are now trading as a function of TradFi. We are trading as a function of the ETFs. And the adage, sell in May and go away, actually comes from TradFi. We borrowed it from TradFi and we put it into crypto. So in the 2016 halving, we had the dip before the halving, slight recovery, sideways forever. Okay, basically for like until November, sideways. 2020, same thing. Dip before the halving, sideways, 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 sell in May and go away, boring, boring, boring markets until August. August, we had some kind of spike. That is what it looks like. Now, look, problem is, I don't know where we're going to get our dopamine rush if we get into the same market that we've had every single time before sell in May and go away and after halving. Where are we going to get the dopamine rush from? This is a serious, serious problem that we need to think about. You need to think about it. I mean, what are you going to do? Where are you going to get your dopamine rush? So we have here. So the next part of the analysis is actually not as gloomy as the first part of the analysis because she's actually right here. She says, here, total 2, which is the altcoins. What happens to the altcoins after the halving? So here, actually, it's not such a bearish picture. It's actually quite a nice picture. So you get the halving over here. And while Bitcoin goes sideways, actually, in 2016, altcoins went up 158% while Bitcoin was actually moving sideways. And then if you take that same analysis into 2020, Bitcoin moves sideways, altcoins just move up. So 34% slight correction, but then altcoins actually start moving up and actually start moving up quite aggressively. So what does this actually mean? It means that before the halving, a dip is actually pretty normal. And then after the halving, it's like, well, kind of like up for altcoins and a much more exciting time for altcoins. So should we be surprised? Absolutely not. No, don't be surprised. This is a normal pre-halving correction. It's not different from any other halving cycle. The one thing that you can keep thinking about is this chart over here. So 1 year before the halving, good year. 1 year after the halving, fantastic year. 470%, here, let me move out the way here. 470% in the 2012 halving. Year after is 10,000% up. In the 2016 halving, 222% the year before, 300% the year after. 2020 halving, 79% the year before, 616% after. So all in all, the 1 year after the halving is a very, 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 very good time. And I'm not actually worried. I'm not actually worried at all. I think that this is just a normal halving correction. We're going to get a little bit down, maybe 20%. We are already, just for those of you who've missed today's correction, we are already 9% down. So half the correction may already be finished. Who knows? Maybe it'll go a bit deeper. Who cares? Ultimately, this is normal. And when it recovers and when the halving happens, and remember the halving is exactly 17 days away, then we can expect our altcoin, if it's anything like previous halvings, then we can just expect our altcoin bags to go parabolic. So that's pretty much what we're looking at here. Anyway, you didn't come here for Bitcoin anyway. So you didn't come here for Bitcoin. You came here for the altcoins. And now the altcoins are actually going to be the ones that are actually going to start running. And actually, in fact, when I look at it, look at the RSIs. So let me just fix this so we can actually see the RSIs. Okay, so look at the 4 hour RSIs seem to be quite reset. They're all actually going into oversold territory. So on the short term, we can actually probably expect some kind of bounce. When you look at the longer term over here, the 24-hour, also looking good. The nice reset in the RSIs. We probably want more of these coins to start coming back here, but probably a nice reset in the RSIs here in the sentiment indicators. Then on the 1 week, I think still not where I want them to be. So we probably need one more leg down and then the halving reset. So, I mean, a red day, but ultimately a very, very, very healthy flush out. And certainly not the top of the end of the bull market and the top of the cycle. I did like what 𝗦𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗍 said. He said, if 70K is the top of the cycle, I don't even want my profits. Because like, that's like, this, we didn't live through SBF and Celsius and Three Arrows Capital and Luna just to get a top at 70,000. This is not the top. This is not the top. Dennis says the investment strategy remains straightforward. When the market dips, buy the dip. Simple as that. It isn't just a tactic, it's a proven approach to create wealth. Don't overthink it. I don't think it's time to buy the dip yet. I'll show you why I don't think it's time to buy the dip. I'm looking specifically at this chart over here. I want the fear and greed to come down a lot. Right now, according to the, you see, I told you, according to this model, the fear and greed is now at 55. This is a much more live model. So it went from yesterday, 78, to fear and greed right now of 55. This is what I'm talking about. Remember I said to you, I wanted a 40-point correction in fear and greed before I actually start running, right? But hold on a second. I don't see you guys chatting, which, yeah, there we go. Now I can see you guys chatting. So I wanted a 40-point correction in the fear and greed. I've got a 25-point correction in the fear and greed. This is good. This is the best that it's been in a long time, guys. I reckon that if we can get to like here, that's probably a good time for me to start looking to buy. So remember I said to you, my threshold is 40 points. So let's look at like some previous corrections. So here, from 83 to 42, you see 40-point correction. Let's look at this one here. This one went from 82 down to 29. Okay, 50-point correction. So we want between 40 and 50-point corrections in the fear and greed. That's when we actually start buying. Until then, I'm not buying. I'm not rushing to buy. I am looking at the fundamentals. The fundamentals are telling me, look, stable coins, there's $150 billion worth of stable coins, which means since January, there's been 28 million worth of stable coins deposited. Fundamentals look amazing. Yeah, you know, people say, look, you're not just going to pass through the all-time high like a knife through butter. It just doesn't work like that. That's not how it works. Anyway, so I'm not buying the dip yet. I think I'm going to wait for the fear and greed index to hit 40 points less. By the way, if you want that chart, I'll show you how you get it. I'll show you how you get that fear and greed chart. I see some people asking. You go to indicators and you look for the fear and greed indicator. So you see mine's already showing, so I'm not going to take it down, but you can see that this is the fear and greed indicator. Just click here on indicators and just type fear and greed, and you'll find a whole lot of fear and greed indicators that you can actually put in here. And watch this. As soon as it goes down another 20 points, then to be honest, we can start aping into the altcoins. Anyway, speaking of altcoins, let's actually get into altcoins. So a lot of, I know it's not like the best week to talk about altcoins, but let's actually talk about altcoins. So we do have a lot of altcoin news this week, big altcoin news this week. The first bit of altcoin news is that tomorrow, is it tomorrow? When is the wormhole airdrop? It's sometime this week. I think it's actually tomorrow. Researchers, let me know when the wormhole airdrop is. I think it's sometime tomorrow. They are dropping 11% of their supply to people who used the wormhole bridge. So when would you have used the wormhole bridge? You would have used it bridging stuff to Solana. In the old days, if you were bridging stuff to Terra or Luna, you would have used the wormhole bridge. Anyone that actually used the wormhole bridge may actually be eligible. If you want to know if you're eligible, just go to its airdrop, to the airdrop official site, and go to this. Go and look and see if any of your wallets are actually viable for this thing. Wormhole is going to be huge. Okay, so. And it's going to bring, you know, when airdrops happen, they bring stimulus to the market. So wormhole's coming, going to bring stimulus to the market, listing on Binance, listing on every exchange will actually list it. As it stands right now, just to give you an idea, as it stands right now, Evo is actually pricing wormhole at $1.59. Okay, now at $1.59, that is a $15 billion fully diluted valuation. So $15 billion FDV coming into this market tomorrow. Remember, the one cool thing that we like about Evo is that you can trade perpetuals on tokens that haven't launched yet before they actually hit the market, right? And you'll see that the accuracy of Evo is amazing. You'll see tomorrow if you look at Evo before. Remember I asked you guys to help us on Evo and see if we could get to $100 million of trading volume. So I'm pleased to say that so far we've got $23 million. If you want to sign up and you want to trade perpetuals before they actually launch, you go to this link over here. Sign up using this link over here. You can trade perpetuals in a decentralized way. So they're not actually holding your money or anything like that. So that is Wormhole. I think it's too late now. $24 million. Thank you guys. I think for now, just so you know, for now, I think you've missed the Wormhole airdrop. You can't get the Wormhole airdrop. There is another bridge though, which I've been using a lot to get on Solana, off Solana to other places. And that it's tomorrow at 11:30 is Wormhole. So there is another bridge which you can actually use, and it is going to start doing points and airdrops. I'm dropping you this alpha first before any other channel has dropped this alpha for you, and only because I spoke to the team and they gave me confidential information which I'm not supposed to share with anyone. But I don't really care about that. If I know, you must know. They probably hate me for doing this. They're going to hate me for this. I mean, okay. So here is the alpha for you. If you want to bridge money from one chain to another, you can use an app called deBridge, app.deBridge.finance. It is now the biggest volume on and off Solana. And basically what you can see is you can go to any token on any chain. So I can go from Ethereum and I can go from USDT on Ethereum, and then I can bridge that to Solana, and I can say that I want a Solana token. So I can say, take my USDT on Ethereum, swap them for USDT on or USDC on Solana, right? So this is called deBridge. It is the bridge that I use all the time. I've got to be honest. It's the fastest bridge. I know how they execute their trades. This bridge can't really be hacked because it's not holding money in any in any smart contract. It's executed actually by market makers. So when you put in a trade, you put in the trade, a market maker sees the trade, fulfills the trade, and then actually takes your money. And so you're actually quite protected. Now, they are launching, you see there's already a points tab over there, and that means that you guys will get an airdrop. I think that this bridge is going to be incredible. Okay, so, and this is the one that I have been using, to be honest. So go and check it out. It's app.deBridge.finance. The points section will be launched very soon. By the way, speaking of points section, Josh, can you tell us when the Banter Bubbles app on the website will have points for us?
We should be ready to launch tomorrow.
He says tomorrow. So tomorrow, the Banter Bubbles app will also have it. Also, I just want to thank you guys because I know a lot of you have been farming points. We've had a record day on Banter Bubbles. Go and do it. Go farm your points specifically on the app. So that's one. Another airdrop. This is airdrop alpha. No one, you see, the points hasn't even actually launched. I'm giving you the points. Go and use deBridge. It's the nicest thing, and you will get points, and there will be an airdrop. And I think that you probably got 2 or 3 months to farm this airdrop before it actually happens. Big airdrop. You heard it first here with us. Second big launch this week is Ethena. Ethena is the stable coin that is delta neutral. Remember, Jose spoke about it. Jose from Delphi spoke about it on the show. That is also actually launching this week. Again, Evo is giving Ethena a fully diluted valuation of $9 billion. This is a game changer. And the airdrop's happening again this week. So big airdrop happening this week on Ethena. So that is the 2 big airdrops that are happening this week. In terms of other altcoins, 𝗖𝗛𝗓 releases a node V3 enabled, 80,000 plus users contributing their resources to the deeper network. So they're expanding their deeper network. Remember, 𝗖𝗛𝗓 is one of the tokens that we've actually been supporting. The other token that we like is Telegram, TON. And you can see that these guys have gone all in on crypto now. Like, it's almost like after the SEC said you can't launch a crypto token, they said, okay, no problem. We won't launch a crypto token. And then what they did was they said, okay, now it's time to launch a crypto token, and they unleashed a beast. And when I say a beast, I'm talking to you about like these guys. Just check what they're recruiting. Have you ever heard of a chief airdrop officer? Like, I didn't even know that existed. Okay, now get this one. This is another one. A meme coin ecosystem lead. Okay, just hold on. Can you imagine going to like a normal recruiter, not someone who's in crypto? and like you're sitting opposite the recruiter, that she says to you, listen, or he says to you, listen, what positions do you want me to find for you? You say, look, yeah, I've got to fill like 3 positions. What the positions? First one I need is a chief airdrop officer. Can you imagine the look on this recruiter's face? Like, what is an airdrop officer, right? So they're looking for an airdrop officer, a meme coin ecosystem lead. They're also now sharing revenue with channel owners using crypto. So Telegram is very, very, very much going all in on crypto, and the metrics are just getting better and better. Like you can see, they flipped Bitcoin by daily active users, and then they're saying, base, we're coming for you guys next. So don't discount the TON ecosystem. And problem with TON, I'll tell you what the problem with TON is. TON doesn't dip. Like I've been waiting to buy this thing. TON does not dip. You see, like this is a dip for ants. It's still at $5. Like this is a dip for ants. I'm dying to buy this token. I can't buy this token. So anyway, let's keep our eyes on TON. If it does dip, this is the one that I'm going for. This is this is my number one buy. My number one buy if the market dips properly is TON. Remember that if you do want GUMMY, first of all, follow GUMMY on Twitter, because the contract code will actually only be dropped on the GUMMY Twitter. By the way, the GUMMY Twitter is there below. Go to Banter Bubbles, sign up for Blowfin. They are a confirmed exchange. Also a very fun exchange to trade on. So like this is the interface, very, very, very fun exchange to trade on. Yeah, get the Banter Bubbles points. That's pretty much it. Remember also, I don't know how many of you have used 𝗬𝗎𝗓. 𝗬𝗎𝗓 is like a crypto app, aggregator app. They're doing their IDO tomorrow on the 3rd of April, as is our sponsor for the Banter bags, who gave us, which is 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗢, who gave us $1,000 for the Banter bags. They're also having the IDO tomorrow. Yeah, I think that is it for today, which means that I'm going to see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, don't panic and don't buy anything. Let's wait for the fear and greed to go down. See you tomorrow.